My entitled employee thought he was untouchable. He actually thought he could sabotage my career, steal my promotion, and bully his way to the top just because he has a massive ego. He truly believed he was the company's golden child. But what he didn't know was that while he was busy running his mouth and plotting against me, I was busy documenting every single thing. He walked into the conference room with a smug grin, thinking he was about to get me fired. But when I pulled out the folder containing his time theft records and the abusive text messages he sent to the interns, the color drained from his face. Watch how this absolute narcissist instantly regret crossing me when he realizes that not only is he not getting the promotion, but he's about to lose everything. This is a masterclass in instant karma. If you think toxic coworkers who bully their way to the top deserve to be exposed and fired, hit that like button right now. It helps us find these stories. And if you love seeing entitled people get hit with a massive dose of reality, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. You do not want to miss the update at the end of this one. Let me set the stage here. I manage a team of about 15 people. Most of them are hardworking, decent human beings who just want to do their jobs and go home to their families. And then there's Brad. Brad is the definition of delusional. You know the type. He's the guy who walks into a room and sucks all the oxygen out of it. He's an employee who works for me. But if you listen to him talk for 5 minutes, you'd think he built this company's entire net worth from the ground up with his bare hands. He is arrogant beyond belief. He genuinely feels that he is the only person in the building who knows how to do anything correctly. He will corner anyone who listens, interns, the janitor, clients, and tell them that everybody looks up to him. He calls himself a natural-born leader. On Home Cookie, he constantly brags about his advice saving the department, even though half the time, his advice is either unsolicited or flat-out wrong. Now, to be fair, and I pride myself on being a fair manager, Brad is pretty good at the technical aspect of his job. He hits his numbers, he knows the software, but he is nowhere near as good as he thinks he is. There is a massive gap between his actual competence and his perceived brilliance. But the real problem isn't his work, it's his temperament. Brad is a grown man in his late 30s who is known to throw absolute hissy fits when he doesn't get his way. I'm talking about slamming keyboards, aggressive sighing, and the silent treatment. He walks around with this air of entitlement, acting like the golden child of the department who can do no wrong. I spent years tolerating him as a peer. I kept my head down, did my work, and ignored his grandstanding. But the dynamic changed overnight, and that's when the target moved from the company generally to me specifically. The first crack in his ego happened about 6 months ago. Our supervisor retired, opening up the management slot. Naturally, Brad applied. In his mind, this was a formality. He was already planning how he was going to redecorate the office. He was telling people, when I'm in charge next week, things are going to change. I applied too. I didn't brag about it. I didn't campaign. I just submitted my resume, highlighted my team building skills, and went through the interview process. When the email went out announcing that I had gotten the promotion, Brad didn't just take it badly, he imploded. He didn't speak to me for 2 full weeks. I'm not exaggerating. I would say, "Good morning, Brad," and he would stare through me like I was a ghost. If I asked him for a report, I would get a 1-word email response 3 hours later, attached. Obviously, his ego was shattered. I could see him seething at his desk, typing furiously, probably venting to his wife or his friends about how he was robbed. He started spreading a rumor that I only got the job because of politics, implying I was a diversity hire or a suck-up. Here's the kicker. Though, it wasn't just one opening. There were 3 supervisor openings across the division. They hired me for 1. They hired a guy from external for the 2nd. And for the 3rd spot, They left it open. Let that sink in. Management looked at Brad, looked at an empty chair, and decided they would rather have nobody than have Brad in charge. It wasn't that I stole his spot. It's that they didn't want him to fill any of the spots. I never brought that up to him. I'm not cruel. I just let him tell people I stole his job so he could sleep at night. I let him have his little narrative to protect his fragile self-esteem. As long as he did his work, I didn't care. But then he decided to cross the line. Last month, during a critical project, he deliberately withheld information from me. He tried to set me up to fail in a meeting with the director. He sat there with a smirk, waiting for me to stumble over numbers he hadn't provided. I didn't stumble. I had backed up the data myself because I didn't trust him. After the meeting, I pulled him into my office. "Brad," I said, keeping my voice low but firm, "we need to talk about boundaries. You don't have to like me, but you will respect the position. If you sabotage the team again, we're going to have a very different conversation involving HR." He backpedaled immediately. Whoa. I think you're misinterpreting things. I was just busy." He tried to save face, but he knew I had him. I let him have it verbally because the message needed to be delivered. I thought that would be the end of it. I thought he would realize he wasn't untouchable. I was wrong. He was just biding his time, waiting for the next opportunity to prove his superiority. A few weeks ago, a new position opened up, training coordinator. Now, this isn't a management role, but it pays more and involves traveling. It's a prestigious spot. Brad, being the delusional narcissist he is, applied immediately. I knew from the get-go that upper management would never give it to him. Our administration knows exactly who he is. They know that if you give someone with that level of entitlement even a sliver of power, he will abuse it. He would hold it over people's heads like a weapon. But Brad, he was absolutely certain. He started walking around the office with a swagger. He was openly complaining about the two managers who were doing the hiring for that role. He was saying things loudly in the break room like, "Those two are idiots. They don't know the first thing about training. When I get this job, I'm going to overhaul the entire curriculum because clearly I'm smarter than them." He was counting his chickens before they hatched, cooked, and were served on a platter. The interviews happened. Brad came out of his interview looking triumphant. "Crushed it," he told everyone. "It's in the bag." Then came the announcement email. I was sitting at my desk when it hit the inbox. I heard the ding ripple across the office. I looked over at Brad's cubicle. He opened the email. I saw his posture stiffen. He leaned in closer to the monitor, reading it again, probably thinking there was a typo. They didn't hire him. But here's the part that makes this absolute justice porn. They didn't just hire someone else. They hired Sarah. Sarah is one of Brad's trainees. She has been working for us for maybe 8 months. She's smart, she's kind, she's collaborative, and she doesn't have an ego the size of Texas. Brad has been mentoring her, which mostly involved him bragging to her about how great he is. And now, she was the training coordinator. She was technically above him in the hierarchy for training protocols. The meltdown was silent at first, but palpable. The air around his desk turned toxic. My understanding from other employees is that he has been texting people all day. He's sending huge paragraphs about how he's been unfairly treated, how the company doesn't value real talent, and how this is a conspiracy against him. He is claiming that Sarah only got the job because she's young and the managers are simps. He's claiming it's discrimination. He's throwing every excuse at the wall to see what sticks. I was waiting to deal with him tomorrow. I had my documentation ready. I was ready for the attitude, the slamming drawers, the heavy sighs. But I just checked the attendance log. Brad has already called out sick for tomorrow. He is hiding. He is so humiliated that a newbie beat him that he can't even face the office. His entitled worldview has crashed into reality, and he can't handle the impact. You guys are not going to believe what happened next. This situation escalated from office drama to full-blown legal insanity in about 48 hours. Brad didn't just call out sick for one day. He took 3 days off. When he finally came back, he marched straight into HR, not to apologize, but to threaten the company. He actually told our HR director that he was consulting with a lawyer to sue the company for constructive dismissal and emotional distress. He claimed that by promoting his trainee over him. We were creating a hostile work environment designed to force him to quit. He demanded a settlement. He literally demanded a payout equivalent to 1 year's salary to walk away quietly. The HR director, who was a shark in a blazer, just smiled. She pulled out a file. Remember how I said he was texting people all day? Well, 3 of those colleagues came forward. They showed HR the text Brad sent. In those texts, Brad referred to the hiring managers with derogatory slurs. He called Sarah, the trainee, vile names that I cannot repeat here. He even made a vague threat about burning the place down metaphorically, but still dangerous language. HR looked at him and said, "Brad, we aren't giving you a settlement. We are terminating you for cause, effective immediately, for violation of our harassment policy and creating a hostile work environment." Brad's face went white. He tried to backtrack, tried to say he was joking, tried to say his phone was hacked, but it was over. Security escorted him out with a cardboard box. The grapevine tells me that his life is spiraling. Apparently, he had been banking on that promotion raise to cover some debts. His wife, tired of his constant unemployment scares and anger issues, has apparently separated from him. I heard through a mutual friend that she's filing for full custody, so he's actually going to end up in family court after all, just not the way he expected. He thought he was fighting for his inheritance of the company throne, but he ended up fighting for visitation rights and sleeping on his brother's couch. Talk about instant karma. He wanted to rule the office, but he ended up ruling nothing. So, here's my question for you guys. What would you have done if you were in my shoes? Would you have fired Brad sooner, or did I handle it right by letting him dig his own grave? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read all of them. If you enjoyed seeing this entitled narcissist get what he deserved, please smash that like button, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories about revenge, entitlement, and justice. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next story.